pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The Culper spy ring was the first civilian spy agency in America. It was made up of regular citizens during the Revolutionary War, operating under George Washington, technically making him America's first spy master. They were instrumental in uncovering the identity of America's most notorious turncoat, Benedict Arnold. These farmers, merchants, boatmen, and even a few women were the predecessors of the OSS and today's CIA. They were mostly unknown to George Washington himself, and to each other, yet their work together saved the American Revolution forever, changing the trajectory at the time, and altering history forever. This small group of childhood friends and other patriots who joined their cause were little known at the time, and would have never been uncovered if it wasn't for a man named Milton Pennypacker. Pennypacker was a historian. During the 1930s, he was allowed access to the family home of Robert Townsend. In the attic, he discovered correspondence letters that he then compared to letters found in George Washington's effects. He also had the papers inspected by a handwriting expert, and they agreed. The handwriting matched an agent known as Samuel Culper, Jr., and his correspondence with Washington. After the capture and execution of Nathan Hale, America's first official spy, Washington felt regretful for his loss, but was determined to try again. Washington gave a budget to a man named Nathaniel Sackett to recruit spies in New York. He hired Benjamin Talmadge, who would run messages to Washington, but the operation ended soon after, reportedly due to a case of nerves from Sackett. After the collapse of the unsuccessful second try, Washington received a message from Caleb Brewster, a former whaler, who said he could use his whaleboats to help in gathering intelligence in New York. Washington sent Talmadge to help Brewster, and they created a new spy ring, the Culper spy ring. Talmadge enlisted civilians instead of using military this time. He appointed a farmer by the name of Abraham Woodhull as the first key operative. Woodhull's sister lived in New York, so his travels wouldn't be deemed suspicious. He chose to use an alias, Samuel Culper, which gave the ring its name. Woodhull then recruited several spies in New York on his travels, and they began gathering intelligence. Women were also enlisted, as women at the time would have been above suspicion of any sort of operative. One of the women who worked with the ring was Anna Strong. A system was devised to let Woodhull know when Brewster was waiting for him with intel, and to divulge his location, using Strong's clothesline. If she hung a petticoat on the line, it meant Brewster had arrived. She then hung handkerchiefs to enumerate which cove Brewster was waiting in. There were 6 coves altogether, so if he was waiting in the 6th cove, Anna would hang 6 handkerchiefs on the line. Talmadge would also recruit couriers, time being crucial to up-to-date and correct intel. Jonas Hawkins was hired first, and then brought on Austin Roe as an alternative writer. After Jonas quit, Austin would ride to New York once a week, claiming to be a merchant, to avoid suspicion of British soldiers. He would bring messages back to Setauket, New York, to his cousins, Phillips and Nathaniel Roe. They would deliver the intel to Caleb Brewster, who would then row his whaleboat across the Long Island Sound, filled with British ships. In total, Austin rowed 110 miles round trip to gather the info, and Brewster rowed 24 miles to deliver it to Talmadge at Fairfield, Connecticut. Talmadge would then forward the messages to Washington. They also devised a system of codes which was used to replace keywords and agent names with numbers. George Washington was code number 711, Brewster was code number 725, etc. The list was then made into a book, which was given to key members of the ring. They used invisible ink as well to hide messages between lines of pamphlets, or family letters, or other innocuous documents, first using the lemon water method, and then later moving to a more sophisticated scientific method that required a specific type of chemical to make the words appear. They were nearly caught several times. In an incident in 1779, when a local privateer landed himself in trouble with the British authorities, and trying to save his own skin and avoid punishment, he alerted the British that Abraham Woodhull was up to something nefarious. British soldiers were sent to his home, but luckily Woodhull wasn't there. They found and beat his father instead. He was never arrested due to a loyalist acquaintance, who vouched for him at the time. Soon after, the ring had another close call, when a letter mentioning Talmadge was intercepted by the British, alerting them to his activities recruiting spies. They raided his camp and found a few documents and his horse. These papers mentioned Agent 355, who had not been brought on yet, but would significantly improve the intel in her role in the Culper ring. In 1779, the ring would expand their operations. Talmadge brought in Robert Townsend to take over for Woodhull, who had not quite recovered after the incident with authorities. He was a pillar of the local community in New York. He co-owned a loyalist coffee house and was considered above suspicion. He had been a Tory sympathizer until British soldiers had harassed his family, and he had felt the effects of the New York invasion. It was crucial to keep his identity secret, and so he went by the alias of Samuel Culper, Jr. Some of the feats accomplished by the ring included discovering that the British were artificially inflating America's currency to damage the economy by handing out counterfeit dollars. They reported troop numbers, names of commanders, and dates and locations of imminent attacks. The ring also warned the French of an attack, permitting them to prepare their troops and American troops, and allowing them to win the battle. Around this time, Agent 355, decoded to mean lady, joins the ring, and the amount and quality of intel the ring is receiving increases significantly. The intel about this time seems to be coming from British headquarters. Agent 355 discovers that Benedict Arnold plans to betray Washington by handing over West Point to the British. In June of 1780, Arnold had just met with Major Andre, and on his way home, Andre is met by three suspicious, possibly patriotic men who say they intend to rob him. Andre claims he has no money, so they take him to American Commander Jameson. In Andre's effects, they find a pass from Arnold. Talmadge finds out and demands word be sent to Washington immediately. Jameson, who may have had a tiny bit of sympathizer in him, sends two writers, one to Arnold, who was close by, and one to Washington, who was in Connecticut. Arnold's rider also left before Washington's rider, giving ample time for Arnold to escape. As soon as he's been notified, Washington sends the Culper ring to find Arnold. As soon as Arnold arrives in New York and joins the British, His first order of business is to capture the Culper ring. He failed, and spends the rest of his life traveling from England to Canada, and dies in London. After Arnold had defected, he provided the British with damaging intelligence, and they immediately arrested a Patriot spy in New York, named Hercules Mulligan. He passed intel about a planned attempt to capture Washington that he learned about while fitting a British officer with a coat. After this, the ring's operations ground to a halt, as they couldn't be sure how many of their identities had been discovered. But Talmadge had done such a good job protecting their identities that the ring members were actually in the clear. After some time, the ring tried to reignite their efforts, but America was quickly running out of money, and Washington had stopped providing funds. The British were determined to catch any and all spies, and added extra checkpoints, and recruited spies of their own. From December 1781, the Culper ring ceased to send detailed reports, and Woodhull and Townsend would only send occasional letters for most of the remainder of the war. The team would come together one last time as Washington looked to secure New York. As the war came to a close, the members of the Culper ring returned to their daily lives, many never having spoken of their roles or of the ring itself. The ring worked together to help Washington, and no doubt turned the tide of the war. I, for one, am grateful for their service, and as a service to them, I am honored to share their story with you.
Something's coming. Something's coming. Something's coming. Let the games begin. Come walk in my shoes. I done paid all my dues. I got something to prove. All in, nothing to lose. Right now a new day starts. Woke up my brave heart. Stand up and play my part. Like the crowd wave starts. Been patient long enough. Not waiting, I'm bossing up. Life is like a toss up. I tempted triple, crossed it up. We born to be giant slayers. We shine too bright to shade us or face us. We love the pressure. This what made us. Something's coming. Something's coming. Something's coming. Let the games begin. I was born for this. From day one I wanted it. We come too far to quit. Ain't no stopping it. I was born for this. From day one I wanted it. We come too far to quit. Ain't no stopping it. Ain't no stopping it. Time to rise up. Time to rise up. Time to rise up. Time to rise up. So let's go crazy, crazy like Prince in the 1980s. Don't play me, I'm not Brady. Too blown, you can't deflate me. Yes, falling is my calling. Can't box me out, I'm all in. We built from yes, y'all and top of the charts and never falling. It's time, beast mode. Put it on the line, free throws. It's Friday, I'm Debo. Take it back like repo. Got on my headphones, eyes closed in my zone. I've been down this road every time I drove it home. The setback up again like it's 1st and 10. Only aim to win. Let the games begin.